Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, I will be tracking our strong winter storm set to impact the Midwest and the Great Lakes late this week into this weekend, followed by some very cold temperatures and wind chills on the system's backside going into the Christmas holiday weekend. And then we're going to look at the long-range weather pattern here heading into the first few days into January, as well as your La Nina update in this video. If you guys are new to the channel and have not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast content on this channel. I cover Canada, the United States, and the tropics and everything in between. So everyone, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Also, guys, helping out as well, hit the like button as well here throughout the video. Definitely helps to get more of this weather information out to a broader audience here on this channel, so definitely appreciate all the likes out there, guys. So hit the like button here as well. So looking here at the alerts out there, lots of alerts across the United States here this morning for that winter storm and that anticipation for a significant winter storm at that. So here up to the Pacific Northwest, we have winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, and even winter storm warnings across places like Washington, Oregon State, getting over into Idaho, even portions of Montana and western Wyoming. That's with some mainly those higher elevation snows across those areas later on today and going through the day on Wednesday. And then you see these blue shaded colors farther off to the east, encompassing more of the Midwest and the western Great Lakes. That is a winter storm watch that is in place here for the day, primarily into Wednesday night, Thursday, and into through the day on Friday for blowing snow with blizzard conditions, significant snow accumulations, and then the cold on the backside here with probably some wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings going through this weekend. So looking at this system here this morning that is just making headway into the West Coast. So a lot of the model data is starting to sample this system here and throw that weather model data here together and kind of see where the system will track and the snow accumulations and all of that stuff here later on today. But looking at your temperatures for afternoon highs this afternoon on Tuesday, December 20th, widespread below zero high temperatures across the northern plains here across the Dakotas, Minnesota, into portions of Montana, and all of southern Canada as well, below zero high temperatures. We got the relatively mild air to the south for now as we head into later on today, but big changes are on the way later on this week. And then looking at the wind chills later on today as well, again, minus 25 to minus 35 degree wind chills below zero as we head into portions of the Dakotas, Minnesota, Montana, and all the way up into southern provinces of Canada as we head in through the day today. So looking at the system as it's moving into the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast, and all that weather model data is being sampled here for the system and where it's going to track. We're going to see that system move in across Washington, Oregon State, getting into Idaho and portions there of the northern Rockies later on today, especially bringing those heavier mountain snows across those regions, and especially in those higher elevations. But places like Portland, Oregon, getting up towards Seattle, we're probably going to be seeing some warm enough air for some rainfall, that liquid precipitation out there later on today. Again, in those higher elevations, we could be seeing those minor to even up to major impacts, especially back into Washington State, northern Idaho, getting into northwestern and western Montana here. We could have some at least minor travel inconveniences to even up to major travel inconveniences, especially as you get back there into western Washington State, into those higher elevations with those heavier snow amounts. And then again, as we get toward the middle of this week on Wednesday, December 21st, to start the first full day of winter, it's going to feel like winter across the northern United States with the below zero high temperatures again across those very same areas here into Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, and back across the northern Rockies and all of southern Canada as well. The mild air again will be in place across Texas, much of the southeast, and the mid-Atlantic going through tomorrow. The wind chill values again 25 to 35 degrees below zero here across all of southern Canada and the northern Rockies and upper Midwest going through the day on Wednesday. That system will start to move a little bit farther to the east across the northern plains, the northern Rockies during this period, bringing some heavier snowfall accumulations there to places like the Dakotas, western Minnesota, getting down into Nebraska, and farther off here to the west again across the northern Rocky Mountains. But looking at the overall winter storm impacts going into the day on Wednesday here, moving closer toward those winter storm watch type areas, we're going to be seeing those minor to maybe isolated moderate type of impacts here from the upper Midwest Midwest from western Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, getting back through Nebraska, the Dakotas there, and then maybe even as far southwest here into western Kansas and eastern Colorado as well as we get through the day on Wednesday tomorrow. And then look at the plunge in temperatures as we head through late this week on Thursday, December 22nd. That Arctic front will be moving southward in a big way all the way to central Texas, to central Arkansas here. And look at the gradient in temperatures here. You can see Houston, we're going to be at 64 degrees or 65 degrees later on Thursday afternoon. But then across Dallas, Texas, just a few hours away, we're going to be in the middle and low 20s across those areas. So very strong Arctic front. And then back behind that, we have below zero high temperatures across much of the northern plains, the upper Midwest, and again, all of southern Canada through the day on Thursday. Those wind chill values will be much colder here with 30s, even 40 degree below zero wind chills across much of those same areas from Kansas all the way north across the Dakotas, Minnesota, and the portions of the Rocky Mountains, and then again, all of southern Canada through the day on Thursday. Looking at the winds here behind this Arctic front, we're going to be talking some strong winds at the surface all the way down to central Texas and across much of the Great Plains. As you guys can imagine, the Great Plains, very flat out there. And again, this system is going to have a lot of potential to produce a lot of wind as it moves through with that Arctic front. We could see sustained winds between 20 and 30 miles per hour, if not a little bit stronger, especially as you get down here into Oklahoma and North Texas through the day on Thursday, and even wind gusts that could be higher than that. We could be seeing 50 to even 60 mile per hour wind gusts, not out of the realm of possibility if the system gets strong enough as we get through the day on Thursday. And Thursday's really the day we're going to be watching for more of that high impact winter storm across portions of the Midwest and the western Great Lakes, especially into Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, into eastern Minnesota, and then all the way down through northern Illinois, Iowa, getting into Missouri there and back toward the southern plains, maybe as far south as the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma with some of that heavier snowfall out there. We got the rain or rain-snow mix a little bit farther off to the east across the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and much of the southeast here with that liquid rainfall and precipitation with some of those thunderstorms mixing in on Thursday. And looking at the winter storm side here of this system, we're going to see minor to moderate impacts across the upper Midwest, getting back toward the central and southern plains through the day on Thursday. So again, travel is not advised if you live in portions of Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, northern portions of Missouri, and back into eastern Kansas because of blizzard-like conditions. We could have whiteout conditions, significant snow accumulations, and potentially, again, that very strong Arctic front bringing those below zero wind chills and temperatures here on the backside of the storm system. So that will be here some high impacts across these areas. That system will begin to move up into the central Great Lakes here with a blizzard ongoing on Friday on the system's backside. You can see those very tight isobars across Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, getting back through portions there of Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. And again, that rainfall threat will be farther off to the east on the warmer side of the system across New England here, especially that I-95 corridor from Boston to northern New Jersey and New York City during that period. And looking here at the back side of the system, again, those blizzard-like conditions are going to potentially be there with those tight isobars. We could have winds gusting in from the north and west over 50 miles per hour, but at the surface, we could have 20 to 30 mile per hour winds sustained on the back side of the system. And again, with all that cold air in place, that powdery, dry snow is going to be blowing around quite easily. So definitely, again, travel is not advised going into the day on Friday. And just looking overall at the system and how the evolution of this will be, we have the trough starting to dig in across southwestern Canada and the Pacific Northwest through the day today. That trough will deepen just a little bit as it moves into the north central Rockies through the middle of the week here into the Wednesday timeframe here tomorrow, and then really strengthening that low pressure system across the Ohio Valley and the central Great Lakes, getting in towards the late week time frame on Friday, December 23rd. And again, a powerful mid-level jet here with a negatively tilted trough will be there supporting that very strong winter storm potential. And then again, that floodgate of very strong Arctic air going to be pushing all the way south to the Gulf Coast, northern Mexico, and all the way to central Florida, if not southern Florida, going through the day on Friday. So looking on Friday, December 23rd out there, yeah, Yeah, a lot of cold temperatures. Look at those temperatures all the way to the Gulf Coast. We're going to be in the low 30s in New Orleans on Friday. Into portions of North Florida, we're going to be near the freezing mark. Portions of Atlanta, Georgia down there into the teens. And look at that, the Tennessee Valley all the way up to the Ohio Valley. We're going to be in the single digits going into the day on Friday, and then below zero high temperatures across the upper Midwest and then into the northern plains with that fresh new snowpack, and then all of southern Canada as well, moving over those fresh snowpacks from the system here. And then the wind chills will be even colder, this time getting farther south with those below zero wind chills across portions of Tennessee, getting into northern Arkansas, portions of northeastern Oklahoma, and maybe even as far south as Atlanta, Georgia, with those below zero wind chills here into the single digits below zero in those areas. Looking at the snowfall potential from this system, again, a lot of model disagreement still a couple of days ahead of time, so do stay tuned to the weather forecast, but the GFS model is showing some robust snowfall across the upper Midwest, places like Wisconsin, Michigan here, getting into Indiana, much of Illinois, southern Minnesota, Iowa, and then maybe even getting back into the Missouri Valley. We could see at least a footprint there of 6 inches or more of snow. Some localized areas could be averaging around a 10 to 12 inches or more. Just depends on where those more intense bands do set up here. And then again, similarly, the GDPS model or the Canadian model still showing that 6-inch or more snowpack here, potential with this system here in those pink shaded colors, and then in those maroon reds, potentially over a foot of snow. But again, that won't be realized until we get a little bit closer to the system to see those mesoscale details of where the heaviest snow band will truly set up. But what is known that if you guys are traveling, and you do have to travel, again, travel is not advised, but if you do have to travel, do have an emergency supply kit here ready, non-perishable food items and a can opener as well, bottled water, a first aid kit here in your car, also have a flashlight, spare batteries, a battery operated radio as well, extra clothing, bring more scarves, more coats and gloves and snow pants and stuff like that to stay warm if you do get stranded in the snowfall out there in the middle of that blizzard. But looking on the rainfall side of the system, we're going to see lots of heavy rain across New England, especially that I-95 corridor that I was talking about here. From Boston to New York City, back down into northern New Jersey, we could be seeing some, several inches of rain, anywhere from 1 to 3, maybe 4 inches of rain across those areas. That'll trickle its way down into Virginia, into the portions of the Carolinas, and maybe into Florida as well on the warm side of the system. I do have confidence that this backside of the system will be cold enough to produce some snowfall across the parts of the Northeast, but again, it won't be enough to really cause any major travel disruptions going through this holiday weekend. But looking with the rainfall potential out there, we do have that marginal risk for excessive rainfall across New England going through the day on Thursday, and then that slight risk for excessive rainfall going into the day on Friday across portions of New England, especially into Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and getting back here into Massachusetts, including the Boston area here as well. Going to the Christmas Day itself on Sunday, December 25th, very quiet. That system will be moving up into Canada here. We'll say goodbye to that winter storm, but we're going to keep that cold air around through the day on Sunday. Here are your Christmas Day high temperatures, single digits here, if not teens, across the Great Lakes region, the Ohio Valley, and parts of the Northeast. We got the warmer air off to the west across the Rockies and the southern plains from Texas all the way up to the western Dakotas and farther west with those 40s, 50s, and maybe even some areas into the 60s out there. And then when you factor in the wind chills, again, below zero wind chills, at least here near, single digits to even teens below zero wind chills across the Great Lakes, the Missouri Valley, and back across the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, and even into southern Canada during that period as we get into Christmas Day itself. So looking at here a Christmas Day snowpack for that white Christmas out there, you need 1 inch or more of snowfall to be declared a white Christmas. It looks like most of that will come true across the upper Midwest, the northern Rockies, back across all of southern Canada here, the Ohio Valley as well as the Missouri Valley, but south of there into Texas and much of the southeastern states. Not too hopeful for any precipitation. That will be a snowfall here sticking to the ground on Christmas Day right now, with a lot of the models trying to trend this a little bit farther to the north on Christmas Day itself. But looking longer range toward the very end of December and more so into the first couple of days into January, it looks like we'll have above normal temperatures being favored across a large majority of the lower 48. We're going to see that January thaw a little bit, as we call it here, with some slightly above normal temperatures during during that period. And again, above normal precipitation here during this period. It's a little hard to say whether or not a lot of this will fall as rain or snow or both, but it does look active, especially across the Pacific Northwest, the West Coast, and then again across much of the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley up through the Great Lakes during that period. I did want to highlight the update here for the La Nina. It looks like we're still in a moderate La Nina at a negative 1.181 here on the ENSO neutral, or on the index here. Again, we're going to be trending towards ENSO neutral, I think, toward the end of winter, but looking at those ocean temperatures across the equatorial Pacific, still favoring that La Nina with those cooler water temperatures from the coastal South America areas farther west across the equator there, south of Hawaii. Over the past several days, at least the 7-day change in ocean temperatures are kind of going back and forth between colder and warmer. So those trade winds are still there supporting that La Nina. And again, the consolidation of all the climate models out there are favoring this going back towards ENSO neutral, and then eventually a La Nina going in toward the middle of 2023 here, but that's a little bit far out. But again, going toward the end of winter, ENSO neutral conditions, if not a weak La Nina, as we kind of finish off winter and going into early spring. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I know there's a long video for you guys. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Most importantly, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys are new. Hit the notification bell if you guys have not already to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Tuesday, everyone, and I will see you guys all in the next video.